original dish. And it's a combination of ingredients that is not so much the main ingredient or the secondary ingredient as it is the summation of all the ingredients combined to create this new dish. And this is what I'm getting with your music, Daniel. You've got an amalgam of these the influences and feelings and drives that you've gotten from all this music that is very obviously influencing what's coming out. And it's great. You're doing an excellent job. We really enjoy listening to it. And as I said, your new release is the one that I heard first. So we're really looking forward to sharing that with the people. And we're going to do that in just a couple of moments. But before we do, I have a couple of quick questions for you. One, I've got to ask you, okay? When I first saw your name, I had envisioned a gentleman whom I followed in the movies years and years ago, and I actually got to meet the gentleman one time and had a really, really nice discussion with him. Great man, but somehow I couldn't figure you having any connection to Roy Rogers, the cowboy. Where did you get your last name from, my friend?
No, I'm afraid I'm not connected to Roy Rogers, no. What I can say is Trigger, my surname, is actually my real name. It's not something I invented just to sound cool and sort of rock and roll. It was actually the name I was born with, so I can legitimately claim I was actually born to rock, because it's there in my name, since birth, really. So, and it served me well because people do remember it. So I really have no complaints on that score.
That is, I'm glad I asked because that is quite a story. The fact that is in fact your real name, and listening to your music, you've definitely learned how to pull the trigger on some good rock and roll. So I salute you, Daniel. Before we let you go, tell us real quick, if you would please, how do the people find you online?
Okay, it would be best if you visit my Bandcamp, which is www.danieltrigger.bandcamp.com. And if you want another address, then go to Reverb Nation, which is www.reverbnation.com/DanielTrigger, and that will get you to all the music that you could want from me.
Fantastic. Now, one last question, and then we'll let you go because I know it's probably pushing your sleep time over there. Tell us a little bit about this next song we're going to hear. This is your newest release, and I understand that it has a story in itself in that the proceeds are going to a charity fund.
That's right, yes. In fact, all of the money raised from downloading my music through Bandcamp are being donated to charity. I've got a day job that pays the mortgage, so when I make music, I consider that to be like a privilege, and all the money from that is going to go to charity. And the charity that I'm supporting presently is called Mind, and it's a UK organisation that supports those that struggle with mental health difficulties. It's a cause that's close to my heart. I know people that are affected by mental illness, and it's just something that I wanted to raise a few pennies for in my own small way. So if you like the song and you go to my Bandcamp, then all the money is going straight to charities. I hope you enjoy.
No, fantastic. And again, thank you so much for coming in, joining us, sharing your music and your story with us. We'll look forward to talking with you again in the very near future. Keep in touch with us, please, ladies and gentlemen. That's Daniel Trigger. This is his latest release. It's called Penitence.
Thank you.
That's a lie, 'cause I was wrong. A troubled mind became my prison cell. I left you stranded and alone. With a slam of the door, yeah, you broke me down, now I'm standing tall. And I will catch you if you fall. Do you remember me? 'Cause I remember you. Yes, I matter how far. I'll always be yours forever. You'll hold a place in my heart. Wherever you are, wherever you go, no matter how far, I'll always be yours forever. You'll hold a place in my heart. Do you remember me? 'Cause I remember you. Is our love lost or can I make it up to you? Do you remember me? 'Cause I remember you. Is our love lost or can I make it up to you? Oh, do you remember me? Oh, yeah. 'Cause I remember you. Oh, yeah. Do you remember me? Yeah, yeah. 'Cause I remember you.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's Daniel Trigger and Penitence. I think you're going to be hearing a lot more of that gentleman, especially since he does get his music over here in the States. For those of you around the rest of the world, look him up. Trigger like the gun, Daniel Trigger. And right now, we're going to pull the trigger and move right on the David Bowers Awards, because our next guest, well, she's been away a little too long, and she's changed not only her appearance, but she's also reached out and stretched her musical prowess. Her new track was going to blow you away, but we're going to play her current hit right now, and then we're going to talk to her, and she's going to introduce her new single, which, by the way, will be released to the world right after this show ends. So we are, in fact, breaking this record, and the minute this show ends, the record will be available to you, the listening audience out there around the world. So if you would, please listen up, because here she is. This is Mikayla, and When I'm With You.
I love you so sweetly till I am no longer breathing. Bones fight and then they break up. Go
This is indie recording artist Nikki Chris, and you're listening to The David Bowers.
And there you have it. That's When I'm With You, and she is with us right now. So, Mikayla, say hello.
Hi, guys. How you doing?
Oh, doing just fine. Great to have you back on the show. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me back. Like you said, it has been way too long.
It's always a pleasure, too. And I was listening to that song again, which I have several times, many times. And my first thought when I hear that song is always, were you listening to Queen's Night at the Opera when you wrote that?
You know, it does remind me of Queen. Like, the music is just so haunting. And when I wrote the lyrics, I wanted it to be just as haunting. My producer, Terry King, who is my dad, you know, you've had him on the show before.
Right. Yeah.
He's writing the best music I have ever heard in my life right now. And I'm just absolutely blown away.
Well, I'll tell you, you are, if he's writing the best music in the world, he has picked the right person to sing this music and perform it. And if you think you were blown away, I can't begin to tell the audience how I was blown away when I heard the transition to your new song, which we're going to play here in just a few minutes. And I think it's going to blow them away, too, because it is a... How did you manage to make the transition? I don't want to give away too much till we play the song, but how did you manage to transition to the sound that you have in the new track? Now, this one had a touch of operatic solo in this, as well as, well, it was basically the same type of song as Queen's Night at the Opera with the same transitions. But how did you go from that to the sound on your new release?
So with this song, When I'm With You, you know, I wanted it to be very poetic. So the lyrics that I wrote, I wanted it to be from